From the 8th to the 11th century, northern England was a part of the British Isles, but it wasn't ruled by the Anglo-Saxons or the Britons. It was ruled by the Vikings. In today's episode, we're going to learn why. Between the 8th and 11th centuries, the North Sea became one of the most important waterways in Europe, connecting Scandinavia, the British Isles, and the rest of Europe. And so the Vikings, who sailed these waters quickly, became some of the most powerful raiders, traders, and explorers in Europe. And this is especially true when it came to their campaign in Britain. You see, from the 8th to the 11th century, the Northumbrian Kingdom of Northumbria controlled the important Danelaw region in northern England, which contained the major trading cities of York, Lincoln, and Nottingham. But with the rise of Viking power in the North Sea, Northumbria found itself under constant attack. In fact, during the 860s, a Northumbrian lord named Ethelstan fought against the Vikings no fewer than 23 times, and each time he did, he lost. And so after all these defeats, Ethelstan had no choice but to do the one thing that his predecessors had refused to do: submit to the Vikings and pay them a tribute. And that is exactly what he did. In 874, Ethelstan met with the Viking leader Hubba and agreed to pay him an annual tribute of 300 pounds of gold in exchange for peace. And at first, this worked. For the next few decades, Northumbria enjoyed a period of peace and prosperity, thanks in large part to the trade that they conducted with the Vikings. However, this changed in 927 when the Viking leader Guthrum rebelled against the Northumbrian king Ethelstan. And after years of campaigning, Guthrum succeeded in conquering all of Northumbria. He then established a Viking kingdom in Northumbria, which he named Dublin. And he even kept Ethelstan as the king of Northumbria, though now under the suzerainty of Dublin. But while this treaty may have brought temporary peace between the Vikings and the English, it didn't last for long. Just a few years later, in 954, Dublin was conquered by the English king Eadred, who reasserted direct English rule over northern England. However, as soon as Eadred died, the Vikings rebelled again, and once more established a Viking kingdom in northern England. They even went as far as pillaging and raiding into Mercia and Wessex. In response, English kings Athelstan and Edmund marched north to defeat the Vikings and restore English control over northern England. And while they did succeed in pushing the Vikings back, they never fully conquered them. And this is because the two kingdoms of Dublin and York entered into a military alliance with the West Saxon kingdom of Wessex, thus creating a sort of three-way partition of northern England. This uneasy partition would last until the 10th century, when a Danish king named Sweyn Forkbeard invaded England in order to conquer it. And after defeating the English at the Battle of Brunanburh in 1016, he succeeded in doing so. He then went on to rule England as a Danish king, establishing Danish as the official language of the kingdom and replacing the English royal family with Danish nobles. However, after his death in 1042, the English throne passed to his son, Harold Harefoot, who proved to be a cruel and tyrannical ruler. In response, many of the English nobles invited the previous king's son, Edward the Confessor, back to England to depose Harold and restore the monarchy to the rightful heirs. Now, to his credit, Edward did try to rule as a constitutional monarch, sharing power with the English nobility. But upon his death in 1066, this policy of constitutionalism ended, and England would come under the rule of a single monarchy once more. And you know how that happened? Yeah, about that. Now, if you'd like to find out what happened to the Vikings after the Norman conquest of England, stay tuned for part 2, where we'll learn how the Vikings went from being conquerors to being conquered. Until then, remember to hit the like button and subscribe for more information about the history of England.